Ready?
Yeah. I think you ended on the E and I ended on the A. It's all good.
No, I ended on A.
Did you? Okay.
No, you're supposed to go.
Do you know who I am with this one?
Yngwie?
No.
Who did that?
Yngwie, you'd be like...
Yeah, he's over the top. Someone from
Iron Maiden. Steve
Right,
Harris.
Steve Harris. Damn it, that was my next guess.
Let's do this one. You know, I think my favorite Yngwie is when he did, you know...
Listen, we don't start any video without saying, "What's up, dudes?"
Boys and girls, welcome back. I'm back in the basement. Thank you for having me again. This is a lot of fun to be here.
Look who's back in town.
I am.
Town King. We're going to start calling you Town King because you're always in town.
I'm in town, the Town King. It's nicer than some of the other things people call me. I'll take it all day long.
Tell me about it. I'm in the same boat.
Let me play a lick I use in all my videos.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I know the feeling.
So this is interesting. There's a video on there, and Yngwie Malmsteen does Voodoo Child.
Oh, yeah.
And and I realized for the first, and I shared this with a couple of people, I've never seen Joe Satriani and Steve Vai look at Yngwie like a god. Because Yngwie's up there just tearing it up. And they're just kind of like looking at him. And it put it in perspective.
I might have seen the same footage. So if you're not familiar with it, there was Joe Satriani sort of puts together this, what is it called? G3?
G3.
Yep. So he brings out, like, it's always usually Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and like one or two other players. Eric Johnson's done it. Obviously Yngwie Malmsteen's done it. I'm trying to think of who else has been on the tour, but
Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson. But did they do one with Dweezil Zappa maybe? I
don't know.
I forget now. Anyway, so they go out and they do these tours, and so I saw that Yngwie one, and
he tore it.
He tore it.
He looked like a god.
He kind of did.
You know,
and I think he's a little bit more cheeky than people give him credit for. I think some people take him very seriously.
When you say cheeky, what do you mean?
Well, I think he's being a little comical. I think he's purposely being a little bit over the top. He almost has a little smirk on his face when he's playing. Like, I know it's a little crazy and it's a little over the top.
But it is an art, and it's supposed to be fun. I mean, musicians are supposed to have fun. So it's not meant to be taken seriously. If you want serious, go to a opera.
Yeah,
rock and roll
I go
through this,
fun. And the funny thing is that I posted sort of a joke comment on a video one time, and a few people got the joke, but the overwhelming number of people they're like, you didn't even understand what he meant. It's like,
what was the joke?
Well, I don't want to get into it because I don't want people flocking over there and commenting on it. But basically, they were just talking about, guitar players and stuff. And I said, we've contributed to all kinds of stuff like two-hand tapping and pick harmonics, which Name me another instrument that does two-hand tapping on a clarinet. I mean, come on, it was a joke.
Right.
But people were like, you didn't even understand what he was talking about. And I was like, oh, they're so serious.
I did a video on 10 things you could do with a volume pedal. A volume control.
Uh-oh. It's running from you there. You got it. All right.
Yeah. And it's funny because, I was like, you could do like volume swells.
Right.
You could play acoustically. You just turn the volume off.
Right.
You could play electrically and turn the volume up. That's 3 things right there. And the funny thing is, people were taking it seriously. I did it on April 1st. I cut that video on April 1st. Like, people weren't connecting the dots with, I was just trying to be funny.
Right. Oh, people remember. I think everybody remembers where they were when I first brought the Iwi out.
Can you play that now? Will it come across on the video?
It won't. I have the computer that it runs through turned off. But, it was a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
Not a bit of a joke. It was put on April 1st. And I basically said, I'm giving up guitar and I'm switching to Iwi.
Yeah.
And so many people were like, that's hilarious. That's awesome. But there was a few of them that were like, dude, don't. You're actually a really good guitar player. And I'm like, really? And one dude kept saying like, look, I get what you're saying. The Iwi's new and it's like fresh. I said, no, I'm thinking I released this video on April 1st. And he goes like, what does that have to do with anything?
You know what I wonder? Is April 1st a U.S. thing or is it like a...
This guy was from the U.S.
Okay.
And
so no excuses.
Yeah, and I looked it up. I think April Fool's Day is sort of not celebrated or observed.
Right.
Not really celebrated, observed everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most people sort of know about it.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so. Except for like, maybe Middle Eastern countries. But it seems like most of Europe
Right.
and the Far East, they seem to know about it. But I guess it just doesn't translate.
I need to come up with a good April 1st thing. I think maybe one of the funniest videos, shameless plug number 1. I think one of the funniest videos I did was the spitting the water out of the mouth with the Gibson prices.
I love that video.
Here's the funny thing. I didn't even know they raised prices, but I kept reading about people saying they raised prices. So I got the Musician's Friend catalog. I was having breakfast. It was early. You could see I was like in my pajamas. I was all disheveled. I told my wife, come outside with me. She's like, what? Like, just come outside, just kind of. And I'm standing against the post, and I said, tell me, just ask me what I'm doing. I'm going to buy you a guitar. Just work with me. So, and then I spit the water. And if you notice the last spit, I couldn't help myself. I thought the whole thing was funny. And some people were actually commenting, like, were you really, like, when you saw the prices, did you really spit the water in your mouth? I'm like, no, I usually don't, things excite me. I usually don't, like, spit water out of my mouth. But
Mostly out of my nose, thank you.
But it was fun. It's amazing how many people enjoyed that video.
Yeah.
So I sent it over to my good friends at Fender. I do have a good friend at Gibson. I was a little hesitant to send it. But he is plugged into YouTube, and I suspect he probably saw it. Yeah. And I hope he did, because it was supposed to be funny.
I have a guitar catalog from 1982.
Should we do a quick riff? Last time we spoke too much. Let's do a quick riff.
Are you ready?
I'll do something now, and your solo time. And then tell me about your catalog in 82.
Ready? E?
Yeah. C. A. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So tell me about the guitar catalog.
Well, first I should have said, okay, I was playing C minor when I should have been playing C major. Calm down, calm down. I should have been going, I should have been playing C major. Anyway, what was I saying?
1982 catalog.
1982 catalog from a little company called, I want to say they were called Guitar Trader, and they were out of New Jersey.
Guitar Trader.
I think that's what they were called, or Trader Guitar, something like that, or Guitar Trader. They're out of business now. I think they went when the owner passed away. You could buy a brand new Fender The Strat, just like that one there, $650. You could buy a brand new regular Fender, $550. You could buy a Gibson Les Paul, I want to say it was $600, standard. Or you could opt for the Gibson Les Paul Custom it's $650. These are brand new prices. This is brand new guitars, right?
USA made, right?
USA made. Now, if you track the rate of inflation from 1982 to the present, Fender's almost matched the rate of inflation perfectly.
Which is
today, that 600 or that 550 for the Strat should be about $1,400, and that's what a Fender USA Strat sells, right around $1,350, $1,400.
And I have to tell you, in the guitar buying world, I think that's maybe what it should cost.
Right.
You know, you should be able to get a good guitar.
Right.
For, and I'm talking a good guitar that you'll want to have for a long time.
Sure.
Between 800 and 12, I'll say between
This
8.
guitar is 31 years old.
Yeah. Between 8 and 15. You know, on the low side, high side, you should be able to get a really good guitar.
Yeah.
The whole 3,500, 4,500.
Well, that's just it. Where's the Gibson Les Paul Standard these days? Where's a Gibson? I mean, even if you're not looking at the 2015 prices, which we were just talking about, even if you're looking at the 2014 prices, you're still looking at a $2,500, $2,800 for the Gibson Les Paul Standard. And how much is the Gibson Les Paul Custom? $3,500, $4,000.
So I'm really going to piss some people off here, but I'm going to do it since it's on your channel. No, but check this out.
Email him.
No, but you know what? Like, I know people get angry, and behind the anger, I think, is love, because people like Gibson. But
Why don't you love what I love?
but here's the thing. Gibson is allowed to charge whatever they want.
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's a company, and companies can...
They did this before in the 80s. We were a dealer, and we wound up dropping them. Well, they really wound up dropping us. They made the opening order from like $5,000 to like $50,000.
Right.
They, you couldn't be a dealer unless you were willing to buy that into it. And all their prices like went way up. I mean, they practically doubled like in 2 or 3 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other can of worms, though. What company, and I won't even go down the names, but I obviously, I talk to enough dealers. Manufacturers really, dealers have it tough. They have these buy-ins, right? So, like, if you want to carry brand X, they say you have to buy $50,000 of brand X, and then you have to buy...
And they're not kidding.
And then they have to buy shirts and straps and all the other garbage, and you're like... It almost, it's...
And if you can't afford it, they put you on financing, and then you're even paying more for the same instrument,
It's business.
It's a business. And, so I just thought it was interesting that, if you look back at what the instruments were going for in 1982, and if you just go for the rate of inflation and you use just a standard, consumer price index, I've been tracking that a little bit. I was going to do a video on it, but I sort of just talked about it right here. But I just think it's interesting that when you look at the rate of inflation, really only Fender. Now, in that same catalog, they sell Martin, and Martin has certainly gone up way past. So Gibson's not alone in this.
Right.
I'm not picking on Gibson.
Yeah.
But Martin also went way up past the rate of inflation. Now, some would argue that Fender used to use ash bodies and now they use alder, and that switch from ash to alder has saved the money, that they had built a brand new plant. But Gibson moved from Kalamazoo to Nashville. They built a new plant. I mean, these other companies have moved around a little bit too. So I'm not, I think, ready to really give them a complete pass, but I just think that, they're going to charge what they think people are ready, willing, and able to buy. That's what a buyer is, someone ready, willing, and able.
And they're also...
And the gap between what you would pay and what you did pay, it's like, say you would pay this and you did pay that, that's called consumer surplus for all you economic majors out there. And they always want to shrink consumer surplus. So I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and we were talking about new versus used guitars.
Used is where it's at. It's like a car.
That's what I said. I said, it seems to me that guitars depreciate pretty damn quickly. And show me any Les Paul that's selling for, $2,400, $2,500, and I'll show you somebody on Craigslist or eBay or Guitar Center used that's selling it $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. I see a Fender Strat that, brand new is $599. I can find them all day for $299.
Right.
And they look brand new.
Here's the trick.
But here's what I found out. Some people refuse to buy used guitars. They feel like they got a little bit of old player stank on them, or they You know, there's a question mark about it. They don't have a warranty. There's just something, they don't like the fact that someone else has even owned it. They want it themselves first. They so-called like a purity.
I'm about as clean freak as they come, right? I told you my whole little ritual on cleaning guitars. And,
Yes, you should have that checked out.
You know, I mean, perhaps.
Put you in therapy.
But I'll tell you what, I have no problem buying a used guitar because, like everything else, you could clean it. And you know what? Any guitar that you take apart and restring and clean the frets, it's better than new, because anyone that's ever bought a new guitar, first of all, buying a guitar off the shelf is a horrid experience because it's like, and then if you take a guitar out of a box, you have to bear in mind it came across in a crate probably from someplace else. There's all this crap and sawdust and it's just not set up right.
Right.
It's like you're in worse shape. You might as well just get something at a great buy, set it up how you want it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to switch that just like that.
Okay. And, used is kind of where it's at. And the warranties,
What are they warranting? It's wood with some wires on it. I mean, really, what could really break that wouldn't have already broken before you got it out of the store, or wouldn't break within 30 days? I mean, I suppose a neck adjustment, but that's just an adjustment. That's setup. That falls really under setup more than repair in my mind.
The necks that go wildly out of whack are just because they weren't handled properly, stored probably over long periods of time. But a new guitar, it's like, what? Maybe a pickup? I don't know.
Exactly. They're just not that complicated.